Hey everyone, welcome to the Remora Lite 1.3 What's New video. So, got a great new feature for you. It's a bolt-on to our quick print lookup, prints, pivots, and cams, Control-Shift-S right here. So let's have a look and see what's new. So, hitting Control-Shift-S from anywhere within Remora will bring you up this form, and some of you might be familiar with the features here already, but we've added something new. So let's go and let's pick a ticker AMD. And we're going to look back 30 days for prints over 500,000. So just going to untick include prints for now and click run. And what this gives us for the current trading day are all the pivots and cams that are support and resistance. Now we also have a pocket size here. So say, for example, I wanted to get into a trade on AMD where I could make at least 50 cents. So the current price of AMD is $75.16. So if I looked around $75.16 and I wanted to get 50 cents, well, if I entered after $76.29, for example, off of this Camarilla resistance 3, I would have a 64-cent trade up to R1, which is person's pivot R1 at $76.93. The next entry would be above this cam here, $77.19. I have a $1.27 up to R2 at $78.46. So we see all of these things here. The R's and S's are from John Person's pivots, and the CR's and CS's are from Camarilla Pivot Boss, which means Camarilla resistance, Camarilla support. This is PP for the pivot, person's pivot, and R1, R2, R3, R4, R5 are all John's Person's resistance, and S1, S2, S3, S4, S5. Now, a lot of trading platforms don't have S4 and S5, and Remora Lite does, which is very helpful when stocks move up past their standard R3s or below their S3s. So if I choose include prints now and choose run, what happens here is all of the recent prints that are over 500,000 cumulative in the last 30 days are now added into my list for scalping. So if I was still looking for a pocket here of 50 cents, I would still have my 64 cents from 76.29 up to 76.93. And then we still see this. But you also see, for example, there was an 890K print at 74.85, which can also be support and resistance depending if that print is still good and they're buying and selling at those specific levels. Now, to read this chart, if I was short on AMD and I was looking to scalp 50 cents, this one here with the price at 75.16, I would have 74.20 here. Below this 927K print, I would have 52 cents to S1 here. So you would read this stepping the ladder down and across. Whereas if you're going bullish, you read right and then up on this. So you can adjust your pocket size as well. Say I wanted 25 cents and I hit enter. Well, it adjusts the pocket size for your scalps automatically that are there. Now we have a couple other options as well. You can copy this, which would allow you to put that in Word or print it out. You can Control-C and paste it wherever you like. The other opportunity here is to use Publish, and this is a great new feature that we've added. And what winds up happening is it's going to add a new tab down here that's called AMD Pocket. And let's have a look. Choose Publish. Now, what this does, I'll close this window for now, is it returns all of the data that we had into this sheet, and we can also adjust our pocket size. Say we wanted, for example, 40 cents. Then everything changes on its own there. Now you can print this out or however you like. It tells you the ticker and what the selection was prints over, say, 500,000. And this was run on January 28th at 9:25 a.m. Now, let's look at a couple other things. We can choose options here, and we have a couple things that we can do. If I wanted to add something to the list here, say, for example, we're following the ECN book, and we see a big buyer at 74, right? So we saw that the price was 75.16, and at 74 there's a 10,000 buyers. So we can start typing buyer here in the list and put, for example, 10K, and we can put the price in, 75, and choose add. So what this does now is it adds it to your list, sorts it, and updates your pocket. So now you can put whatever information in that you like. If we choose the drop-down box here, then we have about 24 things that are already preset that you could use if you were interested. So a buyer, a seller, if you're looking to go long at a specific point, you've done your trade analysis, and I like it above, for example, 75.21, which is a pivot. So we would say maybe bullish above 75.21. We could do bullish above 75.21 and choose add. And there it is. So you can add whatever note that you like as text here, and then add your price. Now, there's a couple other options here. This one that says index Levi settings, I'll discuss that in an example in a moment. This bottom section says additional prints for AMD. So what happened is we went back 30 days over 500,000, but Remora has access to 4 years of historical data. So by default, what it suggests is we could look for all prints with plus or minus $5 from the current range that was returned. So if we were at $88 here, then it would return prints up to 94. And at the low end, it would be 57. So we could add more prints in here if we wanted. Now we could choose specific levels here, or you could put in your own number up to whatever, or select something from the list. So if we wanted, say, everything over 100K, then what we could do here is choose add. Now what this does when I choose add is it brings a table for all prints over 100,000 between $57 and $94. Okay, so this goes back 4 years. So you see some of these relative to the price. So this is sorted by price, highest to lowest for your reference. So, okay, so let's add another table. So say we want prints between 70 and 80, and we're interested in prints over, say, 500,000. Well, I'm going to choose add again. This gives me another table, AMD over 500,000, 70 to 80. Now, this is interesting because if this current price is around 75, we can easily scroll back and see what's going on around 75, right? Because look at this, March 25th, 2021, 1 million. This one, November 22, 1.2 million. And it tells you the number of trades that are here. Now notice there's things that are highlighted in green. These are prints that are above average of the data that's returned, so they should pop out and be of note. If we choose clear, the between and the and are set to 0, so that's going to return everything. So now if I choose add, this is everything for AMD sorted highest to lowest, over 500,000 for the last 4 years. If we choose reset, that goes back to the default setting, like when you open this form together. Now say, for example, I don't want one of these that I've returned. Well, I can click, for example, anywhere in this group, like this. If I wanted to get rid of this one, I would just choose delete table. And then it's gone. I can choose delete all tables, and it will clear everything from there. So I'm going to have a look at another ticker, and we could either click Control-Shift-S again, or you can click this button that opens the form. So if I put in, for example, the SPY, and I just choose Run, and I'll close this window behind it, and then I'll just choose Publish. So what happens now is I have another tab here called SPY Pocket. And notice we have AMD Pocket because we were working on this. So now I have the SPY pocket, and I normally look for trades where I can get 75 cents because I scalp options in my trading. So I'm looking for 75-cent pockets here. Now, if I choose options, I can do the same thing. But these index Levi settings, just to take a little bit of a side note, if we click on this late prints tab here, these are all of the late prints from the previous day that came in. So legally, these large dark pool trades, depending on how they're executed, they have up to 24 hours to report their trades. So when we look at these sorts of things, for example, on the 26th of January on the SPY, there were 18 trades totaling $6.8 million at $400.36. The thing is that this volume belongs in the previous day's candle. So there were 18 trades at $400.36, totaling $72 million. And the percent of these dark pool trades on the index for January 26th was 9% of the daily volume, which belonged in the previous candle, which actually belonged in the 25th. So we track these sorts of trades. They come in small, like for example, 18 of them made up the 6 million. But these then become larger levels in the grander scheme of things. We can scroll down and see the larger ones. In this case, if they're highlighted in green, they're over 10 million. So you can see that sort of thing. And that's the purpose of these index Levi settings. If I go back to my SPY pocket here and look for index Levi settings for the SPY, and I have the option to choose all of those Levi prints between 366 and 435 as default. For example, as default, as these go $10 either side of your current range, so 366 to 435. So this actually returns all prints between $366 and $435 for the last 4 years. So currently the price of the SPY is around 405. So if we went down here, we could see these older prints around 405 from April of 2021, 8 million. There's another 10.8 million. And these. Now, these are only good until they're not, which is kind of not a good explanation in a way. But we do know if they're still valid prints, if the price action stops there. If it doesn't and just blows through these levels, then their print is no longer good. We can also add prints over, say, for example, we wanted anything over 5 million. And since we're trading around 405, we could say 390 to 410, and we'll choose add. So when we move back up, we've got another table here that's showing the SPY over 5 million between 390 and 410. So now we can see this, which is far less data returned than the previous one. And the same thing, if I wanted to get rid of one of these tables, I could choose delete table, or I could delete all tables. There's one more thing I wanted to explain about the Control-Shift-S. I'm going to put the SPY back in here, for example, and I'm going to choose Run. Now this shows the pivot calculation for today, right, which would be the current trading day. Say, for example, I wanted to see what the pivots are going to be for the next day. Well, I'm going to, just to avoid the prints here, I'm going to untick Include Prints and choose Run. I'm going to look at the next day and choose Run, because what this does is it estimates where your support and resistance are going to be for the next day. So if I was looking for a swing trade on the SPY, and and say I was going long above 404, well, so R1 is 407 for Monday, 407.46. So if I was looking to buy an option or sell an option, I might be able to gauge, if we move up, where I could potentially take profit, and knowing that in advance is helpful. If we run the Control-Shift-S and redo our publish, for example, it says that the pocket sheet already exists. You want to overwrite it. And if you don't overwrite it and choose no, it's going to ask for a new name. And we could call this SPY pocket 2. Now, if you're done with these, what you can do is just right-click on them and choose Delete. So these 3 that I used for examples. Okay, I hope you found that interesting and that helps your trading. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or need help with anything, my email is up here, support@remoralite.com. Happy trading!